Today's Saturday, and I'm going to be going to the restaurant to meet some new people. Like I said in my last video, she, her partner, and a few of her friends are going to be there. So we'll see where today goes, and I'll kind of give you updates as to how things are. But for now, just kind of excited. This is the highlight of my week, and it's just I'm looking forward to meeting some new people today. So let's get to it. Well, I'm actually parked in a parking deck now. I got to the place that I'll be having the brunch today with them, and that's why it's super dark, so you really can't see really good quality here. The rates are kind of high, and if you want to park for 1 hour here, it's going to cost you like 20, 30-ish bucks just for parking. So I was sitting here contemplating if I should just leave right now and maybe just come back later, but I think it's kind of too late. So next time I'll probably just take an Uber, and that way I don't have to pay almost $100 just to park here. It's crazy, but we'll see how the brunch goes. Well, that's pretty much it. Real quick about the parking. I know I said earlier I would have had to pay $100 for the parking fee. Thank goodness that wasn't the case, because you know how expensive Boston is with the tickets and stuff like that. I only had to pay $32 for 90 minutes of parking. So that's still expensive on my end, but I don't know how that is relative to the downtown Boston area. Maybe that's normal, maybe that's expensive given the cost of living here, but I don't know. I didn't actually record anything within the restaurant because it was my very first time meeting new people, and I don't think it really would have been courteous or appropriate to vlog while I'm trying to have a serious communication with them and really having a good dialogue. So I didn't think it was the appropriate moment for me to kind of get out my camera, start vlogging, especially when you're meeting some people for the first time. I don't think that's really appropriate. You might want to build some trust with them over time. And then if they're comfortable doing it later on, then that would be something that I might do. But I just didn't think it was appropriate to do in the first hand. So that's why I didn't record anything. We did eat at Sansi restaurant. I personally had some salad as well as lox, which is smoked salmon, some cream cheese, and some bagels. It was like a sandwich that was cut in half. And then for drink, I simply had some water. They also had some other meals for brunch. I think one of them had tuna, other person had some eggs and a sandwich and stuff like that. I don't exactly remember what they ate, but that's kind of what I had. And I think it came down to about $16, if I'm not mistaken, or 19. I forgot which one, but it was within that range in terms of the price. Anyways, I didn't go to the restaurant to really eat. It was really to meet new people and to kind of build more relationships with people here in the area. As I mentioned previously, the resident in the previous video, she invited me to meet with her partner, and a few of her other friends that were there. So in total, it was 5 people at the restaurant, including myself. So I met 2 new other people. And when I was at the meeting, I thought originally it was going to be other residents and other physicians or nurses, but it was just me and her. They were the only 2 people in healthcare. Everybody else was either like in finance or in software engineering. So there was a very diverse set of career professions, which I think really helped make it more inclusive than just having strictly a meeting for people in healthcare. That was nice to know. I got to figure out a little bit more what they do, what their professions are. Really, when I was into the meeting originally, I was mostly just sitting there and listening. I usually talk when I was prompted to, but really for the first part of the meeting or the first half of the meeting, I really just wanted to kind of be more ears than just mouth. So I was kind of sitting there listening. They talked a lot of jokes about like Netflix, favorite documentary TV shows they had. They talked about places they always want to go visit or they have visited. And they also talked about things they've seen or read in the news or things they wanted to share. So very typical stuff, I guess anybody would like to talk about. In terms of how I felt specifically with the whole dinner, again, I was kind of tense, and obviously meeting new people for the first time, it can kind of be a little bit stressful. But for me personally, I think I dealt it really well. I don't know how they would take it because I would have to ask them. But me, I was just really sitting there for the first half, like I said, really listening. I did share my story and kind of more about myself to them later on, specifically during the second half of the meeting before we all had to leave. So I told them about myself, where I was born, where I grew up in, what I studied, what I do for hobbies, and what my future plans are. They did give me some advice on how to make new friends. However, I didn't really tell them in the meeting, but a lot of the advices they gave me, I tried in the past, and that really wasn't a good way for me to make friends. So they were saying going to clubs or sports organizations or intramurals or any volunteer associations. Personally, I think that's a great way to kind of spend your free time, but for me, that really wasn't the place to kind of meet and hang out and really meet new friends. I just didn't tell them I tried those things in the past and just been kind of unsuccessful at it. It just doesn't mean I wasn't upset with them. It just more or less like something that maybe they may have heard and want to pass down. But again, like I said, I tried those in the past. To kind of recap how I felt, again, initially tense, but as the meeting kind of went on, I grew more confident. And again, I was more talkative towards the end. And they really appreciate a lot of stuff that I do on the side, as well as my future endeavors and what I've acquired so far. So it was really nice and reassuring for me to see that there are people that they were genuinely interested in the stuff I was doing. It is reassuring to know that they genuinely did want to meet with me more often than just that initial meeting with at the restaurant. I think the only issue really was that everybody was going to be traveling this year, the rest of this year, because it's basically almost December now by the time I'm recording this, and everybody's going to be pretty much out of town for the holidays. So they were thinking sometime either in January or February, sometime early next year, we would be able to maybe do something else together as a group, which is something that I've generally been interested in to know more about. I did tell them that I did have some friends that might be coming over early next year, and maybe we can all do something together, like a huge group event or maybe a getaway where we all kind of go and visit someplace nearby. Not only I can meet with them and their friends and their peers, but they can also meet with my friends that are coming from North Carolina. But that, again, that really wasn't solidified. It's still a toss up. So it's something that we've discussed, but again, nobody has finalized anything yet because their main focus was the holiday trip. So I think once we hit January of next year, we'll have a better idea of kind of what to plan moving ahead. I enjoyed it. I hope they enjoyed me having there. I don't know what their opinions are about me. I didn't ask, but my hopes is that they saw me just as someone to build a relationship with better than the same way I saw them. So I really do want to thank the resident, her partner, and her friends at the Sansi restaurant for providing me the opportunity to have this. And I did want to thank them as well for giving me the opportunity to meet in the future as well, in the near future, that is, in terms of having more events. I do want to end with saying this. I came a few months ago to the Boston area. I left North Carolina. I left my entire social community, a lot of my friends, my family, and I really just been staying at home and going to my training in the hospital as a nurse and then coming back and repeating that over again. So for those who are out there and that are feeling they're kind of facing the same situation, I want to say that you're not alone. I'm an example of that. But at the same time, I think it's very important to just meet with new people. Again, the way I got connected to this event was because of her. She was doing a rotation at the hospital and she wanted me to meet her partner and her friends and kind of really build that relationship with the community here. Not everybody that's at the hospital, I guess, is just kind of asocial or type A or doesn't want to be around you. I think it just comes down to finding the right person who can help guide you and give you a better social life. Healthcare, unfortunately, is filled with a bunch of people who are so dedicated to their job, they miss the bigger picture of life and having a life outside of medicine. So that is just as important, if not more important, to your well-being and your health in terms of what you do as a healthcare professional. And I've neglected that. I'm trying to rebuild that back up. And my hope is that whilst I'm here in Massachusetts, I can continue to have relationships and kind of have a good life outside of medicine than just going home and doing nothing. That's it for now. I really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to my story as always. And hope you take care. And as always, cheers.